Hey guys, Skittlerampage here. Welcome back to a new video. I do hope you're enjoying your day today. So I actually wanted to talk about Funko just as a company today for a little bit. I'm also going to read from a Yahoo Finance article that came out like 10, 11 days ago that they were kind of like covering Funko before their next quarterly earnings report, which I think is on November 6th. So we're going to kind of talk about a little bit about that, as well as we're going to talk about some things that, I think Funko could change. I think Funko's doing good right now and all that. I just wanted to talk about Funko as a company today. It's going to be a little bit all over the place, but if you're interested in all that, then, just kind of stick around here. So I do want to read from this article really quickly, and it's probably going to, trigger some other talking points and stuff like that. So let's look at this article. Okay, so this is from Yahoo Finance. Funko Inc. might not be a large cap stock, but it led the Nasdaq's gainers with a relatively large price hike in the past couple of weeks. And it's going to explain why that was, yada, yada, yada. So it says, what is Funko worth? Good news, investors. Funko is still a bargain right now. This is not financial advice or anything like that. I'm just kind of reading through it, whether you own Funko stock or not. But yeah, it's basically saying that it has a little bit more valuation than it's actually showing what it's actually trading for right now. It says, what does the future of Funko look like? Future outlook is an important aspect when you're looking at buying a stock. Yada, yada, yada. Funko's earnings are expected to increase by 35%, indicating a highly optimistic future ahead, which is pretty good if you're a shareholder, as well as it's just good for Funko as a company in general, because they're not doing crazy good right now. They're doing, I don't even know if I want to say okay, because we're going to read on here where it kind of states that they have lost like 70% of their share price since the year began, which is just pretty crazy. But let's talk about this section, which I think this is where it goes. It says, why is Funko stock skyrocketing higher today? Again, this was this says September 22nd, so this is a little bit older, but this is old news, actually. It says shares of pop culture collectibles Funko jumped 12.7% in the morning session after the company announced that it was official e-commerce website, Funko.com, began shipping products directly to customers in Mexico. There was actually another change that they did, which they kind of put Funko Europe, Funko.com, and the Funko Canada websites all in one website, and you can just swap between your different areas, which I don't know if that was like a financial move or it was a logistics move. I mean, it's got to save them some kind of money somehow, somewhere. I did notice a lot of international collectors kind of upset with that change, saying it also messed up some other things. So I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Anyways, though, I wanted to show you this section here, which is pretty crazy and alarming. It says Funko is down to 70.6% since the beginning of the year and at $4.01 per share. It is trading 72.4% below its 52-week high of $14.50 from January 2025. Investors who bought $1,000 worth of Funko shares 5 years ago would now be looking at an investment worth $675. So it kind of just highlights just how much Funko stock has fallen due to their own decisions. Obviously world events happening too. You have the tariff stuff, and all that. But their price increases also had a big thing with that, as well as their debt they had, and they didn't make as much money as they were hoping for. Now, as I was mentioning before, their next earnings call for quarter 3 2025 financial results is over on November 6th at 4:30 p.m. EST. So that should be pretty interesting to see if, they kind of are doing better or worse, especially since they have a new CEO right now, which is a pretty notable thing that I wanted to go over too. Now, if you missed this news last month, over on September 1st, Mike Lunsford here was actually appointed to be the new CEO, and he actually previously worked at Netflix, which was pretty cool. He oversaw their he was the VP of licensing and stuff like that. And obviously Netflix has a ton of very successful properties like K-pop Demon Hunters, as well as Stranger Things, for example. So I'm assuming that's why he was chosen, specifically to get better licenses, get better deals, and just obviously make the company more money. So I think it's a pretty strong choice overall. I'm just kind of curious to see what he's done in the last month and changes. That's not a lot of time, unfortunately, and pretty much a majority of the last decisions were still under Cynthia, the previous CEO. That will reflect in the next earnings call. So I really think we still need to give him 6 months to a year to see what he can do with Funko as a company. Now, some of the things I'm mostly curious about in terms of under this new CEO, or just in general, what kind of changes are going to be made going forward, is are they going to bring the stickers back on the box with like the chase stickers or the exclusive stickers for the different retailers? Because as you've been seeing recently, you have Hot Topic putting their own sticker in store, not online orders, but specifically in stores. That means they're using manpower and, probably spending hours stickering those different exclusives over the different pops to add their own advertising and their sticker on it. It does seem to be a Hot Topic based decision. I'm assuming they just, again, want their logo and branding on that. But I am kind of curious going forward if Funko will bring back the stickers and exclusives, because so many people have been asking for them, myself included. But the reason I really want it, I don't really care for it on the box, but it's fine. It doesn't really bug me that much. But the reason I want it is branding. I think that's such a big, important thing, especially with these companies paying so much to get in this product from Funko, that if I was Target, if I was Amazon, if I was Hot Topic, GameStop, I would want my branding on the box, showing that, hey, this came from me. That means people are going to remember to go in your store and shop for your exclusives going forward. Any new collectors are going to know, hey, I can get Funko Pops at GameStop with this exclusive. Let me go there and see what they have. It's all a branding thing. It's all to get people shopping at your specific store. I think the biggest thing with me, especially with the stickers, is just knowing where the store exclusive is. It's like, how can you have specific stickers for Comic-Con and then have specific stickers for Hot Topic Scare Fair, but then you can't just have the normal exclusive store stickers for all your other exclusives? It cannot be that much cheaper to have one sticker across the board. I don't even think it's really a cost thing. I think it's a logistics thing at the end of the day. I think it's just easier to give all the stores the same sticker, and then you can't really mess that up, I suppose, is their thought process. I guess, I don't know, especially when they're exchanging stock too, because you probably notice over the years where we get a lot of SE stickers over here randomly, but it's not vice versa. That means most of that stock is actually coming from overseas because it didn't sell very well over there, and they're trying to bring it back here to sell it here. That's why you notice on the Funko shop, like Guillaume, for example, plenty of other exclusives you'll end up ordering it on the Funko shop, but maybe you'll get a special edition sticker or the official Hot Topic sticker. All in all, I think they should just bring back their chase stickers and their exclusive stickers. It was one of the biggest aspects of collecting with this, especially for, people who collect in box, don't want to take their stuff out of box. I'm sure out of box people don't really care about that, but there's a lot of in-box collectors too that care about that stuff. There's a lot of sticker collectors that care about that. So it's kind of just alienating those specific markets, but I guess to Funko it makes sense. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think about the whole stickers. I think something else I find pretty interesting lately is that Funko's been fixing some of their relationships, seemingly, because there was like a lot of rumors going around with FYE and Walmart specifically, and I don't even know if you could really classify them as rumors anymore, because we noticed the change with Walmart and FYE specifically, where there was no real new exclusives going to two of those stores, as well as the stock was just so weird. It was either really older stock you weren't really finding anything new at either place, or FYE was getting a lot of random exclusives too, but nothing too crazy new. Some of FYE's last exclusives were Naruto pops of Mike Guy in the wheelchair, and then the Orochimaru with the, I think it was like metallic or something like that. But yeah, but now what I heard recently was that FYE is completely done with Funko, which I've heard that for the last 2-3 years, and I might have even reported that in a video, but it looks like maybe it's finally the case, and they're just, cutting all the stock from their stores and websites. So we'll kind of see if that actually does happen, but the rumor was that they got into a huge fight with Funko, like CEOs clashing over FYE wanting more exclusives or better exclusives, and then, Funko just not giving that. And I've heard plenty of bad things about Funko in terms of like the exclusives and, them taking store exclusives and all that. So I wouldn't say Funko's the best to work with, it seems. I've seen a lot of people really, not be happy with them, but I won't name any specific names. But anyways, another instance of this, same story. Walmart and the previous CEO, one of them, Brian, one of the more notable CEOs of Funko, big clash there. A lot of like heated arguments is what the rumors and, allegedly. So that's what kind of led to a strained relationship with Walmart and them not getting as many exclusives or maybe not buying as much stock. Of course, these stores not getting in stock also plays into, them not as confident in the Funko products. Same thing happened with Target, dumping a lot of their stuff at Goodwill, apparently. And that was just the whole US tariff environment and just people buying less and all that, yada, 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 yada. I won't go too deep into that, but you probably heard that by now. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. The reason I bring up the whole relationship things is that, well, while the FYA one seems to be a downturn, seems like that relationship is not fixed and they just don't want Funko products anymore. I don't know how much longer FYA is going to last anyways, to be frank. But with Walmart specifically, you've been seeing a ton of new pops lately in stores. You're finding chases there. I don't think they've gotten an exclusive, though, in a little bit. They've had some exclusives, but then they were like changed last minute. So if you guys can let me know what the last Walmart exclusive, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it seems like the relationship is better, is my point. It seems like they're getting a lot more stock in their stores. I even checked out a Walmart the other day, and they had some new stuff. They actually had some recent stuff, which was cool to see. So I think another big thing that I wanted to talk about was the Funko NFTs. Basically, seemingly the whole program, or just the idea of it, is being winded down and kind of shut down, and they won't be doing any more drops. As you have noticed, we haven't really gotten an announcement in a while, as well as just nothing has dropped. So this article, farewell to Funko's drop, the only good NFTs there have ever been. So I want to pay attention to here. It says, unfortunately, all signs seem to indicate that Funko is winding down the program, with the current Disney Villains collection being its last. It's a shame to see it go so soon, because it set a great example for what NFTs could be and why people might actually be excited to collect them. And then it kind of just goes on to talk about like drop and stuff like that. But farewell drop, the one good thing that came out of NFTs. Over in the Drop Discord, a moderator recently revealed that Drop Arcade will be discontinued following the end of Season 2. While this doesn't necessarily confirm that Funko NFTs are going away completely, the end of Drop Arcade seems to support recent rumors that Funko has eliminated all but a few positions from the Drop team, meaning they basically laid off most of their team. The Disney Villains collection is scheduled to end on December 17th, and as of right now, we don't have any information about any future drops, as I was mentioning before. If things are as they seem, it will be a huge shame to see Drop go. While every other NFT seemed to be a scam, or at the very least a huge waste of money, Drop was a genuine effort from Funko to give its fans a new and interesting way to collect pops. I actually agree with that. I know a lot of people really don't like the whole Funko NFT things, or, the paywall and buying the packs and all that. It's one of those things where you just buy it or you don't. It was a form of gambling, obviously, just like, buying Pokemon cards or One Piece TCG cards. It's all a form of gambling. You're buying something in hopes of getting something really cool or valuable. And in my opinion, the only difference between this and like buying 6 or 12 for a chance of the chase, which is the same as gambling as well, is that you actually get something guaranteed. If you go after a chase, for example, you at least get the common pop guaranteed. And in most cases, you get the chase guaranteed if you buy the bundle, obviously. But I like the Funko NFT idea. I think it was making Funko a lot of money. I think it was one of their better things. I don't know if people prefer the limited program that they seemingly replaced the NFTs with. It seems like maybe that's what they were doing with that new limited program. It seems like maybe that's just more manageable and less stress, because a lot of problems came with this Funko NFT Pro, a lot, whether it was sticker issues or damaged items or late items, production issues, like you name it. There were so many problems wrong with this in trying to make these, and they're limited too, so you'd think they wouldn't have big production issues, but box print errors, like it was kind of crazy how many things came out of this. So maybe it was just one of those things where it wasn't worth the headache. It was just a department they needed to cut, I guess. But I still think there was a lot of money into it. But at the same time, the direction they were going into was like quantity over quality, if that makes sense, where you see so many bad drops, like so many drops that didn't even make any sense. And then they have really high piece counts. They don't sell out. They end up, burning 10, 20,000 packs at a time. And it's just, it wasn't making any sense. I think if they picked better licenses, it would have been better. But maybe that's also the reason, because it wasn't making as much money as when it first came out, or, in general. But yeah, I think they just went the wrong way about it with some of these drops. And some of them should have been extremely more limited, because that was the whole idea around this. And I think they just got greedy with a lot of the drops, and that's what happened with that. But we'll never know the true, reason they did this unless an employee comes out and says it, which is pretty interesting. The lack of transparency with Funko sometimes is what kind of sucks about the company, because they don't really address most things. And that's where I think it hurts them a lot. I think if they were a little more transparent, honest, But at the same time, you know, they have a stock and shareholders to answer to. So I get it from that standpoint, but still, yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky thing with that. But let me know your thoughts on the whole NFT. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know what you guys think. Here's one more thing I wanted to talk about. I don't know if this will be the last thing we talk about, but I did want to talk about it, which was the limited edition drops. Just kind of an update on my thoughts on this. So here are some of the latest ones. If you don't know, some are already sold out. Some have, you know, this month had a lot of really good ones for the most part. Some bad ones. Like, I don't even understand making her. She was in that outfit one time in the movie for like all of 10 minutes, which, okay. Anyways, though, and the movie wasn't even that good. It was okay, but it wasn't that good. But nonetheless, they've had some pretty good drops. Like Angel Imperius is really cool. I don't know why they continue with these. I don't believe these are actually selling out like they say they do, because that $250 price point is just crazy for this. It's just, they're cool, but they always put cooler artwork on the box than the actual figure, and I don't get that. Because if he had his chain out with flames around it, that would sell so much better. I think it would sell better around $100 to $150 than $250. I don't believe these actually sell out like they state. I just don't. Anyways, though, the main point here was to talk about the limited edition, you know, section here. This is making a lot of people upset. I've noticed, like, as the days go on, increasingly more people are getting upset at this. And granted, they're limited drops. Funko does make more money on these because they have the higher price points. Because as you can see, 5,000 pieces is $24.99 versus if it was before this program, it would be $15. So they make $10 more per unit because it's a lower piece count. And, you know, they're not making as many, so they normally aren't making as much money at that $15 price point, so they increase the price. Now, I want to do some quick math here on that Angel Imperius. This is about $125,000, so they get $250,000 just on that one drop. And the main selling point here is FOMO, because let's be honest, not many people are actually asking for Angel Imperius, but you slap a 5,000 piece count sticker on it, and now a lot of people are asking for Angel Imperius. So the biggest selling point of this limited edition factor is the, you know, piece count there and the FOMO, people missing out and all this, because if I'm being honest, this 5,000 piece count is going to be worth like $40-$50 when it's all said and done. It's going to go for like $75, maybe $100 initially, and it's going to drop down the $50 range like most of these do. Of course, though, you have your rare cases like with the Freerin drop over at Chalice, where that one is sitting at $200 just, and it's 5,000 pieces too. It's just Freerin's more hot. It's more popular than Diablo right now. I'm not saying Diablo is not popular. I love the franchise, but Freerin is more hot. A lot more anime collectors raise the value of Funko Pops more than these other ones. And that's just the name of the game. That's why you see so many anime LEs lately and just anime pops in general. And then let's do Kuromi next here, where it is $19.99 times, what do we got? 9,500 pieces. So on those, they're making about $190,000 on, you know, those drops if they're all selling out, you know, through all the stock. And at 9,500 pieces, most of these are selling out even at 10,000 pieces. Whereas normally they probably would have printed like 20 to 30,000 of these. Not sold out. They would have sat on the website for a while, and they may have even sold less at a higher piece count, if that makes sense. Whereas if they printed 25,000 Kuromis and maybe they only sold 5,000, but when they're limiting it to 9,500 pieces, it's selling out. And I think a lot of the people getting upset are people sometimes that wouldn't even buy these if they were at 30,000, in my opinion. And I think it's just the FOMO getting everybody, whereas they're missing out and they're like, oh my gosh, I really wanted this because it had that piece count. I don't think it's always just, oh, I wanted this for my collection. I think some people aren't being as truthful, but that's just my opinion on it. But the point is, they're making a lot of money with these limited drops, and that's why they keep doing them. Whether you like how they're doing them, I think the in-store GameStop ones have been some of the worst. Obviously, Whatnot with Chalice and even with the Goku was pretty crazy. Actually, even has the trophy for the worst drop, period. Just how they did that. It was just scummy how they did it. And I don't think they deserve another exclusive, in my opinion, either, but we'll see what Funko does. I heard somebody was posting that they're out of the LE program, but who knows, actually. But my point in all of this is that this program seemingly is working very well for Funko. As you can see, every exclusive has been selling out. And that's why I kind of feel like it was built to replace the NFT line. Whereas this is a little more easier and manageable, and they don't have to, wait. The wait time isn't as long because they're making a set amount of pieces, whereas with the NFT ones, they're waiting to see how many people actually redeem it, and then they make them to order, and then they update the new sticker on how many were actually out there. On the aftermarket, those are a little more valuable than these, but this is more manageable. This is less stress. All that stock is selling out immediately, and then they just get it shipped out and they're done with it, and they can just keep doing it, just rinse and repeat. Okay, so I think I said my piece today. I kind of just wanted to talk about state of Funko a little bit, different things they're doing, new things that are developing, and of course their upcoming earnings call, which I'm so curious to see if their stock goes down more or if it goes up, because it doesn't really have much room to go down more. So I'm really hoping it's a successful and, good earnings call. I really do think it will be. I think I haven't seen really too much bad stuff in the last few months since the previous one, and hopefully they're a little more in the green than they were. But let me know your thoughts on everything we talked about in today's video. If you guys want to see more videos in this style where I kind of just, sit here and talk with you guys, they're a little more different than me just standing over there, because I feel like I'm being a little more like just one-to-one with you guys. I don't know. I kind of just like sitting here and just yapping and talking, but I don't know. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. If not, then, then I won't make any more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Big shout out to all the Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to check out the Patreon, the link is down below. We do have a Patreon Discord where we share a lot of information, news, restocks, updates, links, and more. So if you're interested in that, just, check out that link, sign up. It's $2 a month, and, you'll make a ton of new friends, and we talk about all kinds of stuff in there. It's not just Funko. We have manga channels. We have comic book channels. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So if you guys want to make some friends or, chat with me or whatever, you guys can join that Patreon. If not, no big deal, but thank you to everybody who does join it. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up because I would really like to put on chapstick. My lips feel very dry I don't know why. I don't go anywhere, so I don't know why my lips are so dry. I feel like I'm always putting on chapsticks. Nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys later. Bye.